A few years ago, I took my sons to see the Rockets play the Pacers up in Indianapolis. We weren't just in the nosebleed section, we literally had the worst seats in the house. And while sitting there, I wished I had gotten better seats, but it didn't really bother me that there were others who had front row or center court seats. Because when it comes to attending entertainment events, I'm good with the idea that you get what you paid for. But what if you came to church and were told that you had to buy a ticket, and the more you spent, the better your seat? Or what if the richer were just given nicer seats and the poor were pushed to the back? Or what if we were segregating according to the value that we assign to different people according to their race, or their age, or their looks? You'd be upset. But why? Isn't it just the way the world works? I mean, there are entire religious systems based on the idea of karma, where the poor or the sick or the outcast are just paying off the debt for the bad things they did in a previous life. Others conceive of the world through the lens of race, where they see themselves as naturally superior, and others as needing to be oppressed because of their differences. Then there are those who are of a Marxist or intersectionalist bent, who basically see the poor and oppressed as inherently virtuous, and the rich and powerful as inherently oppressive, or even as evil. The Bible tells us that all people are inclined to be self-serving and superficial in the way we judge others. That's why James says, "My brothers, show no partiality as you hold the faith in our Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory." James 2, verse 1. He's telling us that superficial partiality is just inconsistent with the gospel. In other words, dividing people up in groups and making some out to be the villains and others the virtuous has no place in the kingdom of Christ. Instead, we're to treat all people with honor and respect because God has made them from one blood. He made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth, Acts 17:26. That means when we come together as a church, we're to treat one another with equity. James calls this fulfilling the royal law in James 2 and verse 8. It's the royal law because it's the law of the king himself, the king who commanded all of us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves.